guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you my favorite house and techno black artists. Hi guys, it's been a minute since I've sat down to film a video. This is so great. I say this every time I take a little bit of a hiatus from filming, but my past couple of videos have all been vlogs and documenting stuff and whatnot. So now I finally get to sit down and film a video for the first time in a while. If you guys don't know me, I'm Ade. I'm a music festival content creator. I have a blog and a YouTube channel in the music festival and EDM space. And back when everything was going on with Black Lives Matter, the protests, racial injustices and whatnot, I posted a video about it and I talked about how I was going to be moving forward by making sure I include more content that amplifies Black voices and that shares a lot of their stories and whatnot. So this is my first step to having more content that relates to that. And I thought, what better way than sharing house and techno artists that are Black that I love, because I do love house and techno. It is my favorite subgenre of EDM. And so I thought I'd share with you guys a couple of artists that I've either seen live or have not seen live but have been on my list, just to expand your guys' music and to give you guys a little bit more insight into it. So I do have some other videos I'd like to do. I would love to do a Black owned festival rave brand haul, but I gotta save money for that. And then I would also like to do some type of history of EDM, but I'm working on educating myself first before I can then pass that knowledge along and educate you guys as well. If you're new here and you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button to vibe with me. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So I have my notes here just so you guys know, because I don't want to mess anything up or say anything wrong like that. I do have my list here. It is my top 10 artists to see, and we're just gonna go from the bottom up, and as we keep on going, I'll keep on sharing some of my favorite artists with you guys. Before we get into this, just so you guys know, I just did this personal list. I kind of listed it off from the ones that I love the most and then the ones that I'm still getting to know. It's not saying that one is better than the other. These are just my personal favorites. You guys might have a different list or different opinions, and that is totally okay. So number 10, we have Black Coffee. I actually found out about this artist from my friend Vanya. She talked about Black Coffee. She tweets about him a lot. He was on the Coachella lineup and I was really interested to check him out at Coachella. He has more of it's kind of ethereal, deep house, I want to say, in a way, but it also has a tribal influence from Africa because he is from South Africa. He's one of the most well-known, if not the most well-known DJ in Africa. He's played Ultra, he's played Coachella. I was going to see him at Coachella and I checked out his Tomorrowland set on YouTube, which, by the way, I have a blog post that I will link down below for you guys. That way you can go check everything out. And I will link down sets and songs and stuff like that that you guys can check out. And the way that he does his sets is it takes you on a journey, and it has these really consistent steady beats that lead to these really big build-ups into higher energy type feeling. And so I really enjoyed watching his Tomorrowland set. So hopefully I'll be able to catch him at Coachella if he's going to be on next year's lineup, since Coachella is going to be canceled. Some other things to note is that he's also worked with Drake, Usher, John Legend, and David Guetta, so some of the big players in the music industry, and his style is just so unique, so I definitely recommend checking him out. Number 9, I have Octave 1, which I found out about from a Vibe Festival event. So I used to go to Vibe Festival events here in Austin, Texas. It is a collective group that brings a lot of house and techno to the Austin scene. And they played at a show back in, I believe, February. I went to this show, so it was one of my last shows of 2020 before everything happened with the pandemic. And they are a techno duo that comes from Detroit. And their whole setup, I'm gonna link down a video for you guys to go check out. Their whole setup is insane, and their live mixing is also insane. I remember hearing from Vibe Vessel, they have a sound check, they have they had a whole amount of time to prepare because it's a huge setup between the different instruments and mixing boards and stuff like that they have. For someone that's learning how to DJ right now, like I am with my little DJ deck, to see a whole built out setup like that and to hear them live mix the way that they do is just so crazy to me. and they're legends. You know, they're from Detroit where techno was born, and so definitely recommend checking them out if you get a chance to, or listen to their music. They were also at Crossed, and I didn't get to see them at Crossed, but I would have been really interested to see what a festival set would have looked like, because seeing them at a small intimate show in Austin was a really good time. So I definitely missed out on that, seeing them at a bigger stage. Number 8, we have Jamie Jones, and I have more recently been getting into Jamie Jones. He is definitely more in the tech house realm, so it's a nice blend of techno and house. For those that don't know, the difference between tech house and then just like staying within house and techno is that it kind of blends those two together, so it has a steady, consistent beat. But then you typically find more lyrics in tech house. You typically find more melodies in tech house, more of a melodic feel to it. It's kind of what differentiates it and kind of really blends it really well. Tech house is probably my favorite subgenre of the house genre, which is already a subgenre of EDM, you know what I mean? So I've really been getting into Jamie Jones a lot lately. He's also from Wales and has been producing since the early 2000s, so he's been around. He has his own record label that features Patrick Topping, Solardo, Lee Foss, some of the big players in the tech house game. One of my favorite songs from him is Boppy, which is a bop. Let me tell you, you will be shaking your booty around the kitchen if you're listening to that. Next up at number 7, we have Mason Maynard, who I got to learn a little bit more about. I had been interested in him because I think he was on a couple of Dirty Bird lineups, or I'd seen his name on some lineups or something along those lines. And he is more so in the tech house subgenre, so I really enjoy his music. And he is from Manchester. He got discovered when he was 21, when he was noted as one to watch on BBC Radio and also by Solardo. He has an EP out with Green Velvet that just came out, which I think is a pretty big deal, especially on Green Velvet's label, Relief Records. Green Velvet is a legend. I'll talk a little bit more about him later in this video. One of my favorite songs is Drop It, which is a Camel Fat song, but he remixed it and it is such a good time. At number 6, we have Gene Farris, who is a legend from Chicago. He has been around. He has releases on Relief Records, Spinnin' Deep, Dirty Bird. That's how I came to find out about him. I think he had a collab song with someone, and that's how I came to find out about Gene Farris. But his music, you guys, also in the tech house realm, so good. Like, it is just so good, high energy. Whenever I'm playing around with my decks and playing music at home, I usually throw in one of his songs because it's always a good time. One of my favorite songs right now that I'm really vibing to is Nursery, so definitely go check that out. It's so much fun, and I think he does the vocals on a lot of his songs and is really talented and has just been around for a really long time. I also haven't gotten to see him live, so I'm hoping to see him one day. Number 5, we can't talk about Black House and Techno without the king, Carl Cox. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. I finally got to see Carl Cox for the first time this year. Thankfully it finally happened because I'd heard so much about him. I got to see him at Cross this year, and then I saw him when he stopped in Austin, which was my last show ever before this pandemic happened. So it's kind of crazy that I got the opportunity to finally see him, and I understand why so many people love him. Like, that set was a 4-hour set, I want to say, and I didn't want it to end, like, at all. Like, I did not want that set to end, but he is more so in the techno space and is well known there. He has his own mega structure at Ultra. He is a legend for a reason, so definitely go check him out. He's also done some live stream sets that have been really fun to watch him do, and he's just such a good, high energy, like, person to watch. Like, I just smile watching him because he looks like he's having so much fun up there, and I just, like, love that. Number 4, Green Velvet, the legend, the myth, the mystery. No, I'm just kidding. Green Velvet, we love him. He has his green little mohawk that you'll see, and if you have not seen a Green Velvet set, you are missing out. I see him any chance I get to whenever he's on a lineup, and he is always such a good time, and sometimes his sets are straight up just like sexy, and that tech house vibe just really gets you going, and you like feel it in your bones, and you just start shaking your booty and having a great time. I love Green Velvet, and I also love when I get to see a Get Real set, which is Green Velvet with Claude Van Stroke, Always a great time as well. He's been in the game for over 25 years. He launched his own record label, Relief Records, in 1993. Like I talked about, him and Maynard just came out with an EP together, which I think is a pretty big deal for someone that is newer to the EDM scene to be partnering with someone that's been around for a while. So I think it's awesome to hear their sounds combine and whatnot. So I've absolutely enjoyed hearing that EP. Favorite song by Green Velvet, all of them, like Flash, Wow, Space Day. I literally could go on and on. You will not go wrong with any of his music. Listen to his old stuff too. Like I've been listening to Rosalie, which is like an older song, and it still goes off, you know what I mean? Next up at number 3, we have Honey Dijon. So this is the only woman on the list that I have here. She is a transgender woman and speaks for rights for trans Black women in the community, which I think is so awesome. I didn't know that about her until I was researching her. I first came to know about Honey Dijon when she was on the Electric Forest 2019 lineup, because a lot of people were hyped up about her. And when I see people hyped up about certain artists, I'm like, okay, I have to go like check out who this person is. And so I learned about Honey Dijon. I unfortunately did not get to see her at Electric Forest 2019. She had canceled due to some reasons. I don't remember exactly what. Alas, my day will come to see her. You guys have to watch her live set that I've linked down below from Sugar Mountain. It is so good. And the way she mixes too is also really incredible. She does this technique, I think, where she has stripped down vocals, just a cappella vocals, and then she's placing it over different beats. And so watching that set from the eyes of someone that's learning how to mix, I was just like in awe, and I just had like even more of a newfound respect for her. And yeah, and like learning about her history and everything. She's been around for a minute. She's also curated fashion shows, the music for fashion shows, by working with Louis Vuitton and Dior, which I think is just so incredible and so awesome for her. So I highly recommend checking her out. I've really been loving her latest remix called Ooh La La. I forgot who the original artist is, but that remix has really been paying the bills for me lately. Number 2, Idris Elba. Oh man, what a guy, am I right? You guys know him as a famous actor, and he is also a DJ. So I've talked about this in a couple other videos when he's graced some of the lineups in the past couple of years. He played EDC. I saw him at Seismic Dance event last year, and I would love to see him again. He is just such a vibe, and you can just feel his energy throughout the set. Also plays a lot of tech house. What I noticed with his is it's very slow to build, but once it builds and it gets there, it just gets you right there. You know what I mean? He actually, some of his history for those that don't know, so when he was growing up in London in the UK, he was learning how to DJ from, I think, his uncle, who was doing like weddings and stuff. Meanwhile, he was learning how to act and was like exploring that. So kind of as he was learning how to DJ and becoming an actor at the same time was just like going hand in hand, you know what I mean? And then he moved to the US, he blew up in The Wire and some of the other shows and movies that he was in. And then he did work on an album when he played as Nelson Mandela on that movie. He worked on that album, which I think is so awesome. And yeah, learning a little bit more about him I think was super interesting, because it wasn't like he was an actor turned DJ. It all kind of happened simultaneously. And now he's been working on DJing and producing stuff and coming out with a lot more releases. I've really been digging his song Baile. It's in my pre-workout playlist that I have, which is like my pump up before I work out, and I definitely love that song, and shuffling to it is so much fun. Last but not least, in my number 1 spot, one of my all-time favorite house artists is MK. The feels I get put in by this man is just unreal. He has more of a bouncy type of house. I wouldn't really call it tech house exactly, but it's more uppity house, more maybe electro house kind of influence. I don't know what else to call it really. But he is from Detroit, and he actually learned how to play like more garage house, Chicago house, that kind of stuff And then there was a certain period of time, I think in the 2000s, where he didn't play or produce house music. And he was working more in the music industry with like Will Smith and Pitbull. And then around 2010 was when he finally came back to house music and started producing house music again. One thing I really love about MK, he is so good at remixes. The way he's able to reimagine songs and make even the remix kind of sound better than the original. I hate to say it, but it's sometimes true. Is just so incredibly unique about him, and I just love his style. And like I said, he always puts me in his feels. All his music just like hits ya, especially with like his lyrics and the melody, and just like like what comes to mind for me is Back and Forth, Piece of Me, There For You, which is with Gorgon City. And yeah, and he just has so many good remixes, like Teach Me. He just came out with one that I think was Katy Perry remix. He has a Tovlo remix. He has so many remixes. His whole discography is just really great. So I highly recommend you check him out. I saw him briefly at Electric Forest 2018. I saw the beginning of his set. And then I think I went to another set. I can't really remember. Seismic Dance event last year was my first full set of his, and it was just so good. And yeah, definitely check him out. He has a lot of live sets on YouTube that you can also vibe out to that I really enjoy. His Greenfields ones is really good. He did an at-home live sessions for quarantine that was really good. And there was another one that I'm currently blanking on. We love MK, we stan, we love him. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys got to learn a little bit more and have more artists to check out. If there are any that you love that I might need to dig into a little bit more, feel free to comment that down below. Like I said, this is my personal list, so we might have different opinions, and I just ordered it in terms of the ones that I love the most. Obviously, I'm still learning and have a lot to learn when it comes to house and techno. We're always learning about everything, and so I hope to do some type of educational series on my channel or on my podcast about the history of house, techno, EDM, and everything like that, because it was created on the foundation of Black lives and whatnot. So I hope to continue to amplify Black voices. If you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button to vibe with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.